The following program, The Russ Belville Show, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate to the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate any illegal activity and encourage all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers on The Russ Belville Show are their own, and The Russ Belville Show cannot be held legally responsible for their validity or reliability. Viewer discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. Then it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think that we need to rethink it and criminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Yeah, I hear you had a question for me.
Now, here's your host, Radical Russ Belville.
We love it.
All right, good day, jokers and junkettes. Welcome. We made it to the weekend. It is Friday, November 1st, 2013, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. I hope you had a happy Halloween last night. I sure did. If you checked out my Instagram account at rbshow420, you'll see that I had a really good time at the world-famous Cannabis Cafe. They had a Halloween costume contest, and I won. And if you want to see why I won, check out my Instagram account at rbshow420 for some videos and a lot of photos with all the folks down there. Big thanks to Madeline Martinez and Smoke Dog and Junior and all the good folks down there at the world-famous Cannabis Cafe. And what an amazing set of musicians they've got down there. I'm telling you, if you're in the Portland area, you want to check this out because they have got some of the finest musicians in Portland. And if you are a patient in the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program, you can sit there and enjoy a dab, a bong, a joint, a spliff. Well, not a spliff, no tobacco down there. So anyway, it's a great time. Check it out. World famous Cannabis Cafe all over Facebook and the internet. All you got to do is Google. On today's show, we've got all sorts of great guests today. Coming in at 1:30, we've got Anthony Johnson, the director of New Approach Oregon. They've just dropped a 2014 legalization initiative here in Oregon, and they've got backing from some of the national billionaire-backed organizations. We are serious about legalizing here in the next election. We'll talk to him at 1:30. At 45 we've got Eric and Brandon Chambers. They'll be joining us via Skype. They are the producer-directors of the Cheech and Chong animated movie. And you remember we debuted the soundtrack here on 420 Radio. Now they're here to talk about the debut on cable of the Cheech and Chong animated movie. So we'll talk to them at 45 past. Also on today's show, we're going to go behind the headlines in a story out of Missouri. John Payne and the folks behind Show Me Cannabis brought this to our attention. A story of a sergeant, a cop down there in Missouri who had some rather derogatory, prejudicial things to say about Show Me Cannabis and the activists that are fighting for marijuana reform. We'll talk about the campaign to get him removed from his position for his prejudice. And, of course, we've got our news headlines in the 420 Radio news coming up right after this first break. A great poll on who would buy pot if it's legal. Colorado's going to decide on pot taxes. New Hampshire's chance at legalization just went by the wayside, and more when we come back.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
I'm Radical Russ Belville, and I want to thank you for listening to 420 Radio. We couldn't survive without you and our sponsors, and I'd like you to check out one of our prime sponsors, the National Cannabis Coalition. I've been working with NCC since June of 2012, and I'm proud to be part of the team they have assembled.
National Cannabis Coalition is building the partnerships with reformers, lawmakers, and industry we need to be successful. Visit the National Cannabis Coalition website at nationalcannabiscoalition.com or the easier-to-remember ncc420.com. That's where you'll get the exclusive first look at my radical rants, as well as informative articles from the nation's top cannabis pundits. Visit ncc420.com today, and if you have your phone handy, text Russ to 420-420 to support NCC and 420 Radio. It's a free text message that helps us help you end adult marijuana prohibition. Learn more at ncc420.com, and thanks for supporting independent marijuana legalization public radio. The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. Please do not give up your precious liberties. There's nothing wrong with standing up for our constitutional rights, and in fact, it's the only way to honor the Constitution that recognizes our natural rights. Treat law enforcement with respect, and respect the Constitution by standing up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak to my attorney, Omar Figueroa." Omar Figueroa has more than a decade of experience in federal and California courts and graduated from Yale University, Stanford Law School, and Trial Lawyers College. Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215. Or on the web at www.omarfigueroa.com.
This is your 420 Radio News for Friday, November 1st, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. 1 in 4 Americans say they'd buy pot if it were legal. From HuffingtonPost.com. Legalizing marijuana would more than double the potential market for the drug, according to a new HuffPost YouGov poll. Results show that 26% of Americans say they would buy marijuana at least on rare occasions if it was legal in their state, compared to 9% who said they'd buy it at least on rare occasions now. The percentage who said they would buy marijuana often jumped from 1% who do so now to 4% who would buy it if it was legal. When asked about their buying frequency, 18% of respondents say they would buy marijuana more often than they do now if it was legal. That includes 16% who said they never buy marijuana now, but would, at least on rare occasions, if it was legal to do so. Colorado voters deciding how high to tax pot, from USA Today. On Tuesday, voters decide whether to approve a 15% excise tax to pay for school construction, plus an extra sales tax of 10% to fund marijuana enforcement. Some pot activists are campaigning against the laws, arguing that marijuana should be taxed like beer, which has a tax rate of 8 cents a gallon. They've handed out free joints at tax protests. While polls suggest the tax is going to pass, even in this state where voters frequently reject new taxes, it is very, very much an open question how much the state is going to reap. If recreational pot smokers in Colorado stay in the black market to avoid taxes, while the price tag for regulating a new industry balloons, marijuana legalization could suddenly look like a bad deal. Colorado also allows growing pot at home without a license, allowing users to avoid taxes entirely. New Hampshire marijuana law defeated even though most people wanted to legalize, from alternate.org. Proponents of ending marijuana prohibition in the state of New Hampshire hope to become the third state in the country, after Colorado and Washington, to legalize consumption of marijuana for adults over 21. Unfortunately, House Bill 492, which would have done exactly that, was defeated by a close vote in the New Hampshire House of Representatives Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee. Both Republicans and Democrats sponsored the bill. HB 492 was modeled on the legislation that passed in Colorado and would have allowed individuals to cultivate up to 6 plants for personal use, and would have set up a system for taxing and regulating the cultivation, production, and sale of marijuana, including licensed and regulated marijuana retail stores. According to a new WMUR Granite State poll released October 25th by the University of New Hampshire Survey Center, 60% of New Hampshire adults supported HB 492. Just 36% say they are opposed. In Live Free or Die New Hampshire, possession of small amounts of marijuana can result in being charged with a Class A misdemeanor and being sentenced to 1 year in jail and up to $2,000 fine. Dealers of even small amounts of marijuana can be charged with a felony. Flanagan, legal cannabis would net 300 million euros for the Exchequer, from the Irish Examiner. Independent Member of Parliament Luke Ming Flanagan launched his cannabis regulation bill in 2013, which would legalize the use of cannabis and allow people to cultivate up to 6 plants in their home or grow the drug for commercial purposes. The bill also suggests setting up cannabis social clubs where up to 300 plants could be grown under license on a not-for-profit basis. It also proposes district court licenses be granted for the cultivation, sale, and transportation of the drug, Amsterdam-style coffee shops where, for example, cannabis cookies or cakes could be sold. It also proposes allowing smoking of the drug in such establishments, making it an offense for anyone under 18 to have the drug, and an offense to drive under the influence of cannabis, as well as an offense to possess large quantities of the drug. Mr. Flanagan estimated up to 150,000 Irish people use the drug at least once per month. Mr. Flanagan pointed to Colorado and Washington state, which recently legalized the drug in America, and said Ireland should now lead the way in Europe. Hundreds of cannabis workers fall ill in Albanian village, from Reuters.com. Doctors in Albania say hundreds of people have fallen ill from harvesting cannabis in a lawless region that for years has been out of bounds to police, Albanian media reported on Friday. Some 2,000 people, including poor Roma who have set up camp near Lazarat, have been working for months in the cannabis fields, where producers pay €8 per 10 kilos of the processed drug. This has been your 420 Radio News for Friday, November 1st, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we go behind the headlines in Missouri, where a police officer is being called out for his prejudicial remarks against marijuana reformers. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.
Cannabis Outreach Collective is an alternative health and wellness option located in Gladstone, Oregon, that serves patients in the Portland area and beyond. We are a full-service alternative health and wellness collective accommodating patients with natural, organic, holistic, and homeopathic remedies, nutritional guidance, advice, education, and medical cannabis, fully in accordance with Oregon OMMP law. You can find out more about Cannabis Outreach Collective on Facebook at COC503 or by emailing cannabisoutreachcollective503@gmail.com or by telephone at 503-853-1319. Check out our menu on Weed Maps and visit Cannabis Outreach Collective today. Let 'em bring in the beat. Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, The Russ Belville Show, Ganja John, and Cascadia Concentrates, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Adam's meticulous designs are individually crafted and screened in vibrant, high-definition color. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org. Let 'em bring in the beat.
Fun.
Oh yeah, this is Big Daddy, and I want you to join me every Thursday night at the Funky Roller Rink, baby.
Engine number 9. Can you get me back on time? Move on down the track. Keep that speed coming out the stack.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Time for us to go behind the headlines. And on this segment, we're going to talk about this cop in Missouri. This is an amazing article off the Weed blog. Remove cop who said cannabis activists are stupid, welfare-sucking potheads who probably can't read. Yeah. John Payne brought this one up, and fine writer out there at the Weed blog. He's sending a letter to the vice president of the Missouri Narcotics Officers Association, Kevin Glazer, and Sergeant Glazer attended a meeting that Show Me Cannabis had been putting on. They put on a town hall meeting in Cape Girardeau, Missouri last Monday, and the cop, Sergeant Glazer, showed up to it, and after he went to the meeting, this is what he posted on his Facebook page. I will just read it to you verbatim. Tonight I had a most delightful evening. I attended the Show Me Cannabis meeting for the legalization of marijuana. It was held at the Cape Girardeau Public Library. This was a good location because it afforded many in the group an opportunity to actually visit a library, probably for the first time in their life. There were over 100 concerned and civic-minded citizens in attendance. Oh, and 2 cops. My views and opinions were not well received, and they appeared to have very closed minds toward what I had to say. Many impressed me as having no minds at all, or at least very slow-functioning minds. A quick scan of the room should by itself be ample evidence for not legalizing marijuana. It scared the hell out of me that these people actually go to the polls and vote. But I voiced my opinion and they voiced theirs. Tomorrow, I go back to fighting crime and serving the public, and they go back to drawing their welfare check and trying to figure out how to legally grow marijuana. I mean hemp. So they can turn this country around, cure cancer, treat glaucoma, and destroy the Mexican drug cartels. What a great country. Yeah, so this is a public servant, a sergeant, the vice chair here? The vice president of the Missouri Narcotics Officers Association. This is what he thinks of citizens. This is what he thinks of veterans. This is what he thinks of patients who are going to the public library, who are engaging in their First Amendment rights to peaceably assemble, to get a little education, to get a little organization to help pass legalization. That's what he thinks of the people. People who can't read, who don't go to libraries, people who just visually looking at them should be ample evidence to not legalize marijuana, people who are going to go back to siphoning their welfare check. Shouldn't this guy be held to a higher standard here? I mean, he's certainly got his freedom of speech. And if you want to think terrible things about people you see that are marijuana supporters, this is America. You have the right to believe what you want to believe. And you have the right to say what you want to say. But not as someone who's being paid by those same people's very tax dollars. If you are a sergeant, if you are the vice president of the narcotics officers, and you are doing this in your official capacity, you need to be held to a higher standard. These are the people you are sworn to protect and serve, Sergeant Glazer. This is not some opportunity for you to be talking to your brothers-in-law at the family picnic to rant about the hippies and the long hairs and the people that you find undesirable and undeserving of your very respect. You are a public servant, and you need to treat all the people equally. And it's okay. And we're glad that you showed up there for the debate. We're glad you showed up there for the town hall to make your presence known and to make your opinions heard. That's what this country's all about. And frankly, I wish more people that were against the marijuana movement would show up to these town halls. It does get a little frustrating sometimes preaching to the choir. But if you are going to be upholding the badge, the law in this country, you need to respect all of the people of this country, all the people who show up to try to change these laws, regardless of what you might think of them, regardless of whether or not they may be on assistance or not. That does not matter. You are a public servant, and this is just a disgrace that you would be publicly airing these views of yours, these prejudicial views, these bigoted views against the consumers of cannabis. It'd be just as easy to make these kind of views of drunk cops, too. All right, we've got to take a break, and when we come back, we will have our 20 after break, and then at 1:30 we got Anthony Johnson in the studio from New Approach, Oregon. We're going to talk about marijuana legalization in 2014. Stick around.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, home of the famous lighter leash. Herb Age Designs, get your Herb Age t-shirts and hoodies and show your pride. Herb Age Designs, we've got frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com. And follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter. We'll see you at this year's Hemp Fest. Crank it up.
Legalize it. Don't criticize.
Overjoyed. I've been cannabis activist for 40 years.
We're turning the corner on a failed policy that's been disastrous for our communities, and things are going to get better.
80 years ago, we repealed alcohol prohibition in this state. We did it prior to the federal government, and we're doing the same thing when it comes to marijuana. We are a step ahead, and we will continue to lead the way. It means I'm going to smoke a lot of weed tonight. Woo!
Some call it marijuana.
You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
Some of them call it ganja. Never mind, legalize it.
I'm a doctor.
I'm a lawyer.
I'm a journalist.
I'm a student.
I'm a teacher.
I'm a representative.
I have cancer.
The outdated laws of prohibition are more dangerous than the plant itself.
I lost my scholarship.
I was fired.
20 million arrests since 1965. This is getting ridiculous.
Our prisons are overcrowded with non-violent offenders.
We have the opportunity to change.
This is costing our country billions of dollars.
Making my family and I fight in a courtroom is difficult enough when I'm already fighting through chemotherapy.
There's no reason to be scared by tradition anymore.
We can stop this.
We can stop this.
We are the American people.
We can stop this.
And you have our support.
We are old,
young,
straight,
gay. We're every race and nationality.
And we're not going to give up.
You can tax it.
You can regulate it.
Apply age restrictions.
You can create millions of new jobs.
We can save our economy.
President Obama?
It's time for legalization.
Legalization.
Yes.
We
can.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Rockin' Friday, featuring rock, metal, and the hard edge of alternative country. You can get downloads and more information about all our Daily Toker Tunes by visiting music.radicalruss.com. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
All right, everybody, time for us to get a little bit metal with our good friend Herb Thrasher, who's on the line with us. How you doing, Herb?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Always loving to spread some knowledge and just reeling off of yesterday's big Halloween fun time. I'm still having great times. Proud of you. You made me a proud dad yesterday as a host of a rock and music show on 420 Radio. You dressing up as Pinhead just made my day.
That was a lot of fun. I won a costume contest with it. It was really a last-second thing that I did like about 9:30 that morning, but it really turned out pretty good.
Man, it was awesome. I was proud.
How was the family Halloween thing?
What's that?
I say, how was the Halloween thing for the family?
Yeah, it was good, man. You know, I had a kid, and so I definitely wanted to spend it with the kid, and was going to make it out late, but, you know, sometimes when you get in a little bit later and then you get in, you just get in. And so I lived it through you at the cafe and hope everyone had a great time. I saw many, many great pictures from the cannabis community.
Right on, man. We had a good time, and we'll continue to have a good time out here. All right, so we kind of got a Halloween theme, though, with this this album we've got today, and it is Dia de los Muertos in the Mexican culture, so I guess we can extend this a little bit, right?
Well, you know, Halloween is one of those days where really it should be a week. It should be a week-long holiday week with the final day being the tribute. And so we're going to keep Halloween going a little bit today. And, yeah, we just felt like the devil and witches and ghosts and all this good stuff was a good theme for the week. And so we're going to continue with witches. And speaking of witches, we wanted 7 of them. So we got 7 witches. And these guys are out of New Jersey, power metal band, thrash metal, just kind of heavy metal, pure heavy metal. The guitar player, Jack Frost, is a big-time guitar player in the metal community. A lot of people might have heard of his work through Sabotage, and they were a pretty big up-and-coming band through the 80s and 90s. And 7 Witches has kind of rebranded their brand in 2013 and have some brand-new members. So here pretty soon, they're going to be kicking off this thing and try to get back going. But in the meantime, they've had 9 albums in the previous, and they're one of those bands where almost every album has different band members except for Jack Frost. And he is 7 Witches. And so, keeping with the theme, we thought it would be a good one, and it's always good to spread knowledge. So you guys go out there, look up 7 Witches. They're on MySpace, MySpace, and they have a Facebook page and a website. And you guys join us tonight for Herb Thrasher Flower Hour at 8 p.m., and we have all kinds of good zombies, witches, smoke, acid, and haze, and all kinds of good stuff. So turn up 7 Witches, load those bowls, and have a great day. See you tonight.
They come in.
You will never know what it's like. No, you will never know what it's
desde la revista High Times, te invitamos a venir a Ámsterdam desde el 24 al 28 de noviembre al 26 aniversario de nuestro Cannabis Cup, donde demostraremos las muchas variedades de marihuana y hachís en los coffee shops. También tendremos una exposición de productos, seminarios de sembradíos, conciertos en las noches y una ceremonia de premios donde honramos la mejor marihuana del mundo. ¡Vámonos!
What makes something funny? How does humor impact health and psychological well-being? How can you incorporate humor into everyday life? A concise, reader-friendly introduction to an important but often underappreciated topic in modern psychology, Humor 101 explains the role of comedy, jokes, and wit in the sciences and discusses why they are so important to understand. Psychology professor Dr. Mitch Earlywine draws from his personal experiences in stand-up comedy to focus on how humor can regulate emotion, reduce anxiety, and diffuse tense situations, expose pretensions, build personal relationships, and much more. He irreverently debunks the pseudoscience on the topic of humor and leaves readers not only funnier, but better informed. It's part of the Psych 101 series from Springer Publishing, Humor 101 by Dr. Mitch Earlywine, Ph.D. 420radio.org presents The Podcast from Cali Connection with Adam Akadocious and Manny Blunts, premiering every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific with replays Sunday at 11 p.m., Mondays at 7 a.m., and Tuesdays at midnight right here on 420radio.org.
Activism begins with ACT. The Russ Belville Show features the stories of hardworking grassroots activists working for an end to prohibition in today's activist agenda.
Welcome back, everyone. 33 after the hour here at Rolla J Studios, and we are joined in the studio by a very special guest. It's his first live interview since filing for legalization in 2014 here in the state of Oregon. We have Anthony Johnson from New Approach Oregon joining us. Hi, Anthony. How you doing?
Hey, doing good, Russ. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so you just filed for legalization in 2014. And there's already two initiatives that have been filed, I-21 and 22, the OCTA and the Constitutional Amendment. So why file a third initiative?
We filed an initiative based upon, concerns from activists across the state, national funders, governor's office, politicians, even taking some concerns of retired law enforcement to really put together a measure that we believe has the best chance of winning at the ballot box in 2014.
What are some of those concerns that you feel that New Approach Oregon is addressing that maybe the other initiatives aren't?
One is keeping cannabis out of the hands of young people. We regulate marijuana much similar to alcohol and beer and wine. And so with the OLCC in charge of the regulatory body, it will do a good job of keeping marijuana out of the hands of minors under the age of 21. Extensive limits for home gardens have concerned a lot of people. So while we do maintain home gardens, it's 4 plants in 8 ounces. And also making sure that the revenue goes in the right place. So our measure funds education, public safety, and substance abuse and mental health programs.
All right. So you mentioned 4 plants and 8 ounces, which would be quite different than what the medical program is, which is 24 plants, 24 ounces. And then the Initiative 21 is also trying to mimic the medical program. Why have a lower limit for recreational users than exists for medical?
Really, the best answer for you, Russ, is the best chance to win at the ballot box. Too many kind of ordinary voters, 1.5 pounds sounds like a lot. And frankly, 8 ounces sounds like a lot to a lot of voters. And this is just something that would be much more palatable to the middle road kind of soccer mom voter that we really need to get to win this election.
Okay, so we're trying to get this on the ballot for 2014. And I understand that one of the interesting angles on this is trying to get it to the ballot without having to do a signature campaign. Explain how that would work and what the chances we have for this referral process.
So we sent the initiative text on to friendly legislators who have a special short session in February, and our hopes are that the legislature takes the lead on this issue and votes to refer the measure to voters or something similar. We're open to a few compromises, but we have a few things that we are dead set upon. Like, we do want to maintain home gardens. We do not want any per se DUI. We want the medical marijuana program protected. But other than that, we're open to compromise. And if the legislature wants to refer something to the voters, we're happy to help and happy to see them lead. If they choose not to lead on the issue or want to refer something that's totally unacceptable to us, then we're prepared and have the resources to do a signature drive to get on the ballot.
All right. So refer it, send it to the legislature. The hope is that they then just pass it straight to the voters. Could they just enact it themselves?
They could enact it themselves, but since it institutes a new tax, it would take 2/3 of the legislature.
Okay.
So getting a simple majority for a referral is a tough task. Peter Buckley has said it's about a 50-50 shot to get the legislature to refer it to voters. Getting 2/3 to pass it is pretty nil, in my opinion, and I would say 50-50 shot is probably the best, most optimistic odds you'll have anybody say of our chances.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the DUID thing that recently the Oregonian, the state's largest newspaper, opined that there should be some sort of limit, that we've got, legalization coming, and Washington included it in their legalization proposal. Colorado did not, but legislators hammered away at it like 6 times until it finally got passed, this odious 5 nanogram stuff. How do you plan on fighting what seems to be a rising political tide for some sort of magic number DUID in Oregon?
Yeah, we call upon the OLCC to examine existing research and studies, and if necessary to do more studies and come back in 2017 and refer recommendations to the legislature. We're confident that once the science and research and studies are all out there, legislators, policymakers will realize that the 5 nanogram limit, there's no scientific basis for that. And so we'll put as many resources as it takes to make sure that arbitrary, unfair limit does not impose for DUIs.
So would you continue forward with the campaign if the only choice was to make it I-502-like, to include a DUID and kill home grow?
New Approach Oregon will not move forward with a measure that kills home grows or allows for per se DUIs.
All right. Another interesting angle on this, the 4 plants that would be allowed. In the medical law, it's 18 seedlings that are under 12 inches and then 6 plants that are mature. Is there any such breakdown with the 4 plants?
You get 4 plants. You can be any size. You can do 2 seedlings, 2 mature. However you want to do it, but you can have 4 plants of any size.
Okay. And with 4 plants, 8 ounces, that sounds like harvesting 2 ounces per plant. But if the plants can be any size, people might harvest a whole lot more than that. What then?
Yeah, you're going to have to control your the harvest if you want to stay within compliance. It's really written as a way for somebody to have a 2-plant garden, 2-plant veg garden, 2-plant flower garden, and maintain your harvest that way. If you're going to produce more, then you ought to get a commercial license. A commercial producer license under our measure will cost $1,000, but you're not actually obligated to sell, but with the commercial license, you could possess and produce more. Also, you can still stick with your the medical program if you're a medical patient and have those extra limits as well. Also, unlike Colorado and Washington, under our measure, when you go over your limit, you're not stuck with a harsh felony. Under our measure, at 8 ounces, it's totally legal. If you have a big harvest and you get 9 ounces, 10 ounces, if you happen to get convicted for that, it's just a civil infraction. The same thing as being under an ounce today. So we have tiers, and even if you have more than a pound to 2 pounds, it's just a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. So we don't kick in these harsh limits if people do have big harvests and they happen to encounter law enforcement after a big harvest they weren't expecting.
Now, I've been told that this 4-plant limit was 4 plants per address. Is that true?
4 plants per household, correct.
Okay, so that brings, some criticism from folks that'll say, well, gosh, I live with 3 other roommates. We could only have a plant each.
Yeah, it's only 4 plants per household. But once again, you can still get a commercial license if you'd like to produce commercially and go above and beyond those limits, and it doesn't impact the medical program either.
On those commercial licenses, we found in some other states, Massachusetts, where they're requiring like $500,000 in escrow and $30,000 non-refundable fees. What would your fee structure look like if someone wanted to go commercial?
Yeah, we have $1,000 fee per license.
That's it.
And that's it. It's low entry. We want as much competition. We want Oregon cannabis industry to be regulated, much like our microbreweries and wine industry, and to flourish like that. So it's a low fee, $1,000 fee. You'll go through the same application process and background checks that microbrewers and wineries go through. So not completely, strenuous or hard on to get an application. And you can vertically integrate, so you can be your own producer, processor, and retailer as well, and have multiple licenses yourself.
Wow. All right. So how about taxation at the retail level? What would the consumers be looking at?
So we put a tax at the producer level at the first arm's length transaction. So a producer, whenever they sell the cannabis at either to a processor, or if they vertically integrate and they sell to a retailer, it's taxed at $35 per ounce. I actually think the price will go down a little bit as there's more competition, more investment into the marketplace. But for instance, at I think in medical marijuana facilities in Portland, you're seeing ounces at $200, $225. Under this model, with that $35 tax, basically pushed on the consumer. Eventually, you're looking at ounces at $235 an ounce. So you're paying a $35 tax per ounce, which it's a little over $1 per gram, to be able to legally go to a licensed facility, have all the choices. It's tested, regulated, and you're totally legal, and your money is going to social services, education services that our state desperately needs.
We're speaking with Anthony Johnson. He's the director of New Approach Oregon, which has filed marijuana legalization for 2014 in Oregon. Of course, concentrates, hash, they've become pretty popular lately. How does the initiative propose to deal with that?
So hash is treated the same as usable marijuana. Concentrates, everybody can possess up to an ounce of concentrates as well. Under this provision, home production of concentrates is not allowed. You have to get a commercial license to produce it. Once again, it doesn't impact medical patients, but home production of concentrates must be done with a commercial license in the recreational market.
All right, now we've got this New Approach Oregon that is filed and trying to get a referral, but if it doesn't, you'll be going out for a signature drive. I-21 and 22 are already filed and will have to be doing a signature drive. Do you worry about the division of volunteers and money and resources if 3 initiatives hit?
In all honesty, if our measure was the kind of shoestring budget campaign that I'm used to working on in the past, Measure 74 in 2010, for example, then I would be worried. There's only so many volunteers, signatures, time, resources to go around. This time around, with national funding from a lot of the major donors who helped fund the Washington and Colorado campaigns, with those kind of resources available, competing or alternate signature drives won't impact it.
Do you think having 3460 pass that regulated our dispensaries and your initiative passing will work well together and maybe avoid what we're seeing in Washington where they're trying to gut the medical program?
I definitely think it'll avoid that. I'm definitely watching what's happening in Washington very closely. I am alarmed, like most activists, about the potential dismantling of the Washington medical program. And from my perspective, the main reason the Washington program is under attack is because the medical marijuana dispensaries are unregulated. Of course, that's the fault of the U.S. attorneys who scared the governor, who vetoed regulations. And then when regulated medical marijuana dispensaries or facilities are legalized for recreational users, the U.S. attorneys quickly say, oh, we won't go after those regulated dispensaries, but you unregulated medical ones, we're going after you. And of course, they're unregulated because the U.S. attorneys threatened the governor with prosecution for state employees. So they set up the whole reason that it's unregulated, and those medical marijuana facilities are now left all alone without any protection. And we definitely avoid that with House Bill 3460 and the Oregon Health Authority's regulatory structure protecting the medical marijuana facilities.
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to 2014. We got a big campaign. Check out New Approach Oregon. It's New Approach 2014 on Twitter. You can also find them at New Approach Oregon on Facebook. Anthony Johnson is the lead campaigner and petitioner. And thank you so much, man.
Thanks so much, Russ. Have a good one.
We'll be right back. We got Eric and Brandon Chambers from the Cheech and Chong animated movie coming at you next.
Of the Marijuana Nation.
I'm Sub Cool from Team Green Avenger. At TGAgenetics.com, we are working on the leading edge of medical strains. Our strains are rigorously tested for THC, CBD, THCV, and other critical cannabinoids. Know your grow. Check out our genetic diversity at TGAgenetics.com, the home of Jelly Bean, Jack the Ripper, Vortex, and other award-winning cannabis strains.
Can I take your order?
Give me 15 cheeseburgers. Come on.
Can I take your order?
Can I pick your number?
Can I take your order?
You got any eggs?
Can I take your order?
Man, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. All right, well, all right, go.
Man, watch out!
Marijuana and alcohol are the two most popular recreational drugs in America. Marijuana smoking is non-toxic, relatively safe, and has a low risk of dependence. Alcohol drinking is potentially fatal, dangerous to society, and is quite addictive. Marijuana is safer, so why are we driving people to drink? That's the question of the new book, Marijuana is Safer, So Why Are We Driving People to Drink? By Paul Armentano, Mason Tvert, and Steve Fox. Visit Amazon.com or ChelseaGreen.com today to order your copy of Marijuana is Safer, or visit marijuanaissafer.com.
Sir, do you think there will or should come a time for us to discuss the possibility of legalization, regulation, and control of all drugs, thereby doing away with the violent criminal market as well as a major source of funding for international terrorism? Thank you so much for your time, Mr. President.
Well, I think this is an entirely legitimate topic for debate.
Name the time and place, Mr. President. Radical Russ has been prepping for this debate full-time since 2005. The Russ Belville Show. The cannabis community includes a diverse set of activists and nonprofits working to end the prohibition of marijuana. We take the time to hear the stories of reform on the Russ Belville Show's Cannabis Community Chat.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's 48 after the hour, and we are getting on the line with Eric and Brandon Chambers from the Cheech and Chong animated movie. We're going to try and dial them up right here. We had them there for a second, but it looks like they dropped off. Of course, you remember we debuted the Cheech and Chong animated movie soundtrack here on 420 Radio a few months ago. Had some great tunes off of that, including Marijuana, which is one we played before. Hello, Russ Belville from 420 Radio, trying to reach Eric and Brandon.
Hold on 1 second. Okay?
Thank you very much. And we're having them on the show today because they are here to announce the premiere of the Cheech and Chong animated movie on cable. We'll get the details from them just as soon as they get on the line here.
This is Eric.
Hey, Eric, Russ Belville here from 420 Radio. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're just wanted to talk to you a little bit about this premiere of the Cheech and Chong animated movie. What can you tell us?
So what's going on is we're premiering the film tonight for the first time ever on television, and it's going to be on IFC at 8:15, and we're very excited.
Right on. IFC channel on cable at 8:15 Eastern. And how has the reaction to this film been? I mean, has it done real well as far as the theater showings that you've had?
Yeah, we did really well. We did a small limited release in the theaters with Fox on 4/20, just to get the awareness out there, and then we went pretty much straight to DVD after that, and it's been being received really well. We're in Walmart, we're in all the national stores. We've been on demand for a while now, and it's been doing really, really well. It's been picking up word of mouth. There wasn't a ton of billboards done with it. It really was Cheech and Chong going around doing press, and so it's been building and building, and we've been very, very fortunate.
Yeah, and I'm kind of interested in that because finding out that Walmart is carrying it, and knowing their history of censoring albums and stuff. How did that get by them?
That was Fox. Fox has just been wonderful. They love Cheech and Chong. They've from the beginning when they heard about that we were doing this film, maybe like even 3 years ago, they approached Lou Adler, who has worked with them in the past, and they said they love Cheech and Chong, they love the brand, they love who they are, and we were just like very surprised. We thought there was no way that they were the one we were going to make the deal with. We wanted to go like an independent route and all this, and then sure enough, we ended up making a deal with them, and it's been a blessing. They're getting us into places that we never thought we'd be in.
Yeah, we're speaking with Eric Chambers from the Cheech and Chong animated movie. It's on tonight, debuting on TV on the IFC channel at 8:15 p.m. According to one of our chatters in the chat room, he says it's channel 564 on DirecTV. I don't know what it is on any other outlet. You'll just have to look it up yourself. Eric, I'm interested in the reaction to the Cheech and Chong animated movie. I mean, I guess we could imagine that a lot of folks who grew up with Cheech and Chong, that generation, would have returned to this. But did you find a new generation turning on to Cheech and Chong through this animated movie?
Yeah, well, the reason my brother and I, who's the other director, Brandon Chambers, we grew up watching movies like Monty Python's Meaning of Life and like Hollywood Shuffle, where they took a bunch of different short stories and put them all together and kind of created this wild, wacky film, and knowing Cheech and Chong had these bits and that nobody really knew about them, they only knew of them from, Up in Smoke, and even, a lot of them don't even know the other movies. So really we wanted to take these old bits and, kind of reimagine them so it was really for the new generation so that they can enjoy them too. Because just, pretty much back in, no one really listens to audio anymore, especially comedy audio. So it kind of, died out for the new generation.
Yeah, that's something, as a kid, I can remember my dad having copies of the albums, the big bamboo and the paper and all of that. And I remember him listening, putting it on the turntable and hearing the sound effects of the guy peeing on the car trunk and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
exactly.
That was a thing back in the day. We used to have comedy albums, and it was a major thing to listen to them with your friends. Was there any response, though, in the music soundtrack to this? Did people get excited about having new Cheech and Chong music?
Yeah, that's another thing that what happened was as we were doing, because Cheech and Chong are so big in music and people tend to forget that all their films have tons of songs that they wrote and then sang and we wanted that to really cross over into this film. So what we did is we created 9 original tracks with Cheech and Chong, Lou Adler, and Dominic Kelly, who was our composer, and we sat down and wrote 9 original songs, and they're just hilarious. And they went with the film, so it was all created for the film, but that's been taken on a life of its own. We've been doing music videos, and we had a lot of celebrities, lend their likeness to the music videos we've been doing, and they're out on YouTube right now.
For a long time through the late 80s and throughout the 90s, it seemed as if there would never be Cheech and Chong together again. Both had their separate careers and did quite well for themselves. And, we heard rumors of why they split up or how they got mad at each other. What was it like working with Cheech and Chong? Now, Cheech is in his 60s, Chong's in his 70s. How did you get for a feel of their, partnership?
Well, when I first, my brother and I, Brandon, when we first came up with the idea, we approached Paris Chong, who's Tommy Chong's son, and Cheech and Chong weren't talking at the time. They were, still at each other's throats, and, it was pretty much impossible to do we wanted to do a real feature film. So this is what we came up with instead, and so we kind of worked with them, and as we were working with them, they started kind of chatting and talking a little bit, but before I would have to drive all the way down to Cheech's house, get notes, and then go all the way to Lou's house, to Lou's house to get notes, and then we'd have to go to Chong's house. But the good thing was eventually, as we were going along in this process, they started to work together, and then we were able to get them in the room together, and when we got them in the room together, the first time it was Lou, Cheech, Chong, I, Dominic Kelly, and my brother, and Paris Chong, and we were recording the song Marijuana, and they hadn't been all in the same room for 30 years. And Tommy pulled out a pipe and you could cut the tension in the air, and everybody smoked, and we moved on and created magic.
Wow. The power of weed and cartoons to get people together, huh? That's a beautiful thing. Hey, folks, this is the Cheech and Chong animated movie. It's on IFC tonight, IFC channel. Check your cable listings or your satellite listings for IFC. You can check this out. It's a lot of fun, new stuff from Cheech and Chong, animated movie. And we got Eric Chambers here speaking with us about the show. And as this has been released and you've seen all this effort, what is the next step? Is there going to be a sequel to the animated movie? More new stuff?
Yeah, what we've been the whole time we were planning on doing at least 2 films because there's so many good bits. We've been planning on doing it. We've been in talks with Fox, and they're excited about it. So it just depends on we're trying to figure out when to do it, and when's the release date and when to start production. So, yeah, we definitely have another one I think we have 2. I want to go for 2, but we definitely have 3. I mean, we definitely have 2, but, possibly 3, because there's so many bits that we didn't even put in here that everybody, we get emails and stuff, and fans write up on, the Cheech and Chong Facebook and say, what about this bit? Why didn't you do that bit? Why didn't you do, the real original, real people that really love Cheech and Chong, that know the bits. They ask, why didn't we do, a lot of the, bits that are like, what they think are the funniest.
Right. So we could possibly have the Cheech and Chong animated trilogy?
I think so.
All right, man. We're looking forward to that. This is very, very cool. Eric Chambers, thanks for speaking to us here on the Russ Belville Show. And thanks again for being involved with us on 420 Radio earlier when we debuted some of those tracks off of the animated movie soundtrack. All of our audience really, really liked them.
And tell everybody to go check out, we just did the Marijuana music video for the song Marijuana by Cheech and Chong. And it's up on YouTube for free right now. They can go watch it.
All right. Well, you heard it from Eric himself. Go check that out. Eric Chambers, thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to the premiere of the movie tonight.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. That's all the time we got here for Hour 1, but stay tuned, folks, for Hour 2, Toker Talk Radio. We're going to talk about some of the stories we talked about earlier, and this bombshell. I got to get this written up after the show. God, I hope I don't get scooped. That is, New Approach Oregon will not go forward with a legalization that takes away home grow or DUID. It's nice to hear that from a New Approach, isn't it? All right. Also, don't forget we've got the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour coming up. And coming up at 5 o'clock, Big Daddy Fink's Funky Roller Rink. And this weekend, we're replaying both the Halloween specials, the one you heard last night and the one from last year. So it's Halloween weekend, all weekend long here. I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at RadicalRuss.com.